All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. We got an afternoon video today. We don't get a lot of those, but something actually happened. Something happened earlier this morning. I was not able to make a video this morning. I usually like to make videos about stuff like this right when it happens or right after it happens, but was not able to do that today. Just had a little too much going on. So I figured this one could wait, especially because let's be real here. Let's be real, this is not exactly earth-shattering news. This is kind of the definition of a low-key, under-the-radar trade. So I didn't feel the need to jump on it immediately like it was gonna fade away after a couple of hours. This is definitely on the lower end of impact as far as trades go, as evidenced by what the Seahawks gave up in the trade. But this video is sponsored by Prize Picks. Let's get into it. The Seattle Seahawks have traded for a wide receiver, technically a wide receiver, although he's not really a wide receiver, Irvin Charles. Irvin Charles of the New York Jets is now a Seattle Seahawk, and the Seattle Seahawks have given up a conditional, mind you, 7th round pick. And according to reports, that 7th round pick isn't even in 2027, it's 2028. So that is about as low of an asset as you're going to see. That is about as light as you are going to find in terms of a compensation package. I think you can literally only go out one more year. So the only thing that would have been less would have been a 7th rounder in 2029. All right, so that is the trade. Seahawks get Irvin Charles, and the New York Jets get a conditional 7th round pick. We don't know what the condition is yet. Probably what it is he has to actually make our 53-man roster in August. That's usually how this goes. So if he makes our 53-man, then we give up the 7th round pick. And if he doesn't make the 53-man, we don't. So we've done a few trades like that over the years. We've been on both ends of that trade recently. I think Mike Jarrell, the tackle, when we traded him to Atlanta, was like that. So it's a fairly common practice, but let's talk a little bit about Irvin Charles. There isn't necessarily a lot to say about him offensively. 29-year-old wide receiver, he's big. He's big in the same way that Derek Young was big. He's not quite as good an athlete maybe as Derek Young, but it doesn't really matter when you're talking about him offensively because he doesn't really play wide receiver. In fact, if you scroll down on his PFR page, he's played 53 snaps on offense in his career. So not really a part of his game. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is special teams. And Irvin Charles is, or was anyway, I guess I should specify, was one of the best special teamers in the league. 2023, he played about 70% of the special team snaps for the Jets. 2024, he was going to play 70% until he got hurt. So this guy plays a lot of special teams. Now, he missed all of 2025. You may notice that. He got hurt at the end of 2024 and missed all of 2025. So the Jets are probably, this is probably a situation where they're thinking we're kind of moving on here. We're not really thinking about a guy like Irvin Charles. He can't really help us because what is a special teams gunner going to really do for us? Well, the Seahawks know what a special teams gunner can do for them. He can be the difference between winning the Super Bowl or not. So, more valuable to us. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about Team Picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. Right. So, yeah, Irvin Charles is a special teamer first and foremost. If you go to Pro Football Focus and you take a look at his special teams grade, you will see they are spectacular in the 2 years that he actually played a lot of special teams. 2023, he was graded over a 90. 2024, he was graded over an 88. So this is considered to be one of the best special teams gunners in football, and now he is a Seahawk. Now, obviously, he's got to work around the injury. Maybe the injury has irrevocably altered his ability to play football. We don't know. He did not play last year at all. But we know that this team cares about special teams a lot. This Seattle Seahawks team values special teams probably more than the average team. And based on what happened last season, you can see why. Special teams were a big part of the reason why they won the Super Bowl. So them being willing to trade for a pure special teamer is reasonable. Now, obviously, this is a trade meant to kind of replace Derek Young, which means that Emmanuel Henderson, the wide receiver we drafted out of Kansas, is in a little bit of a tougher spot now because he was kind of the guy that we drafted to replace Derek Young, right? You're not going to have two gunners, at least not two lead gunners. And if Irvin Charles is on this team in 2026, then it's really hard to imagine any other wide receiver, including Henderson, having a spot. This team doesn't use receivers that much anyway offensively. I don't think we're going to carry 7 receivers. Even 6 is a little bit questionable unless you really think there's complete special teams demons that can alter the course of a game. Remember, you even have somebody like a Ricky White hanging around as someone that has proven they can be pretty good on special teams too, at least at the college level. So Irvin Charles does have a little bit of an uphill battle here, but he is proven in a way that no one else on this team is. And based on what we saw last year, I think very clearly this team does not want to mess around with having unknown quantities at gunner for special teams because they know how important it is. Like, this guy, say what you will, I know he doesn't have the impact of a guy who actually plays on offense or defense, but if you take a look at, this is a 2024 before he got hurt, he's on the field for 11 to 21 snaps a game for the New York Jets on special teams, so he has a lot going on. He does contribute a lot. And if he can add that same value to the Seahawks at a plus level or even a plus level, that is worth quite a bit to a team like this. So it's indicative of the fact that we really care about that stuff, and that's always a good thing. I'm not going to protest that at all. That being said, it's still an uphill battle for him to make the team, I think, because he's got to prove he's past the injury, and he's got to prove that he'll be better than somebody like a Emmanuel Henderson, because the other thing to remember is Charles is very cheap. I think he's making like 1.1 million against the cap this year, maybe even slightly less. That's still a little bit more than Henderson. So if it's tied, you got to believe the tie goes to Henderson for being younger and cheaper, even if it's only slightly cheaper. So we'll see. One thing to keep in mind, and this is something the Seahawks have done before, and teams do it all the time, you might see a little bit of a trick here where after preseason, Charles gets cut, and then we re-sign him after a couple of days. Or maybe even it's like a week. I can't remember exactly what the time frame is, but basically it's a way to keep the player without actually losing the draft pick. We've done that before. Maybe we'll do it again here. You basically tell the player, look, we're going to sign you back in about a week. Just chill out, hang around, and we'll bring you back. Don't sign with anybody else. We're going to get you back in a little bit here. We just don't want to give up the pick. Like that is something that teams do from time to time. And it's a little bit, I'm sure the team that you traded with doesn't love it, but as long as you feel like you can get away with it because the player's not desirable enough, then do it. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. Irvin Charles, really good special teamer, really, really reliable guy as long as he's healthy, which I would assume he would have to be somewhat healthy to get traded, right? Like if he's still injured, then I don't think the Jets could trade him. All right, so let me know what you guys think about this one. I know there isn't necessarily a lot to think about it. It's pretty straightforward. He's not really a wide receiver. He's not really a defensive back. He's a special teamer. That's what he is, and he's a very good one, or he can be a very good one. All right. So see you guys later. Go Hawks. And I mean, there's nothing to be down about, right? There's nothing to be critical of. If you are a Seahawks fan, there's nothing to be unhappy with here, because if he does not make the team, we lost nothing. We don't pay him, and we don't have to give up a pick. I'm assuming, again, the conditional is on him actually making the 53-man roster. All right. Go Hawks. And that's about all there is to it.